All right. Hey, everybody. Brad Linder back at you again for the daily sketch card, and we're going to be doing Leonardo from the Ninja Turtles. Classic style from the show. Let's see here. Okay. Let's start knocking this out. I was a huge fan of the original comic books as well as the old cartoon show from what I think it came on in 87 or 88 and ran till what 92, 93 when the last puppet style film came out that Jim Henson Studios had their hands in. That was awesome. I loved the first one. That film revolutionized a lot of the puppetry and animatronics that were used in live action film for a while to come. Pretty cool stuff. I mean, that was like revolutionary, like right there with classic films like The Dark Crystal or some of that other stuff like that. Just really, really deep stuff as far as how the quality of the puppetry and animatronics and all that went. And it wasn't hard to follow the transition either from the cartoon to the films because they did such a great job on the animation of the characters and gave them such human characteristics. It was awesome. If you guys haven't seen those original films, go back and watch those original uh, Ninja Turtle films with the puppet heads and whatnot. Great stuff. I mean, yeah, I know they were foam suits, but the ones we have in these new films just don't hold up. I mean, granted, it's the next generation stuff, and I get that, but I'm just a sucker for nostalgia with this stuff because this is something that was from you know my early teens, and I remember my brother playing with all that stuff. The Ninja Turtles and GI Joe was his thing. But yep. So gonna knock this out. Got the teeth going in here. They had these really cool big refrigerator teeth that I just cracked up over anytime I saw them. Big game show style teeth. The classic game show host style where they just jump out at you and they're just huge. And I'm going to darken down that eye a little bit. Get the shadow underneath that mask. Make those eyes really pop out. Let's see here. I'll put out that long ribbon. Let's see here. Deciding if I still wanted to go that way with it. There we go. Now this is the strap for his sword belt, his harness. And that's pretty much the only strap that he has. I mean, he has a waist belt, but you can't see that from here. But then the rest of it's just those two cases, and that's it. I mean, that's what he's got. Let's see if I can get these delts in here. I'm sorry I'm being so quiet today. It's just I have a minor migraine going on today, but the show must go on. And as far as this character goes, Leonardo is probably my favorite of the original Turtles, and I will talk about it a little bit more there. So this isn't just open air, but yeah, he is my favorite of the four. And originally, I was a fan of Raphael, but that character got so much, it got so much popularity so fast. It was like the Wolverine craze, for the X-Men stuff. It was just all over the place, and you couldn't get away from it. And then I just lost interest because it was everywhere all the time. And with it being like that, it just wears thin, just so much of it. I get burnt out on that stuff real easy because I like diversity in the characters, and I like them to build up. And unfortunately, when they find out in corporate entertainment, when they find they've got one, they take off with it, and that's where they go. When they find something's hot, they ride it out to get as much merchandise off of it as possible and all that. And it's just, I mean, I understand it's the nature of the beast, but yeah, it's a monster at times. But I really dig this character because of the fact that it has all the leader attributes and all that mess that goes on with it. And he's an unsung hero in a lot of cases where a lot of it doesn't ring out as much. Michelangelo's the comic relief of the character crew, and then you've got, Leonardo as the, I don't know. I don't want to necessarily say he's the self-loathing, because he's not. I mean, even by the character concept, he's not. And especially in the original comics, if you ever read those original black and white books, he is vicious. That was one of my favorite things about him in the original comic tales, was that he was just crazy insane. And I mean, they were all nuts, but still, of course, being teenagers and being animals, those characteristics are all over the place anyway. But these guys almost didn't make it to print. A lot of the original comic book stuff wasn't supposed to be put out there, and there were debates over, who owned it and whatnot, and it was just a mess for a long time. And it was still in limbo there for a while before they ever got it situated to where we could get the new films. So we're lucky to have them. But this was an animation change for me. And when I found out they were originally based off of a comic book, it changed my whole perspective, because when I originally found out about them from the animated series, and I believe it was on Fox, is where the original cartoon was. the original animated series came out, and I was against it because I thought it was too quirky and awkward. And then, as I said before, my younger brother was a fan of it, and I got, uh, I went straight over the fascination with it and got straight up inundated. I was just boom in there, done. I'm hooked, and that's where it went from there. I really enjoyed the original series. The second season, not so much when they got into the far-fetched stuff, which even for the Ninja Turtles that was far-fetched is crazy. With the alien, I think his name was Krang, the brain from an alternate dimension. I mean, I thought this was far-fetched enough with them doing the mutant stuff, and then them to get into the alien stuff on top of it. It was just wow. Okay. But what really fascinated me was the video game. I got hooked into that thing. The old Nintendo, the Nintendo version of the arcade game, which was animated. It was 2D animation rather than the traditional, smaller 8 or 16 or even 24 at the time. Um, 24 was coming up at the time, and for the bit variations on the games, man, when they switched over to that whole thing of 2D animation games, like they did with the Battletoads and the Ninja Turtles games specifically, oh man, I was just hooked. And I wasn't much of a gamer at the time. Everybody was into Nintendo and into some of the variations on Atari, and I think the 2600 was out back then. I'm giving my age there. Back in my day. So, no. I enjoy being the age I am. Yeah, I caught the tail end of all the cool stuff in the late 70s, the early 80s. Being 40 now is not a problem with me at all. However, I have finally hit that age, and my friends pick on me about it because I've hit the age where I'm talking about this like classic cartoons, which just cracks me up to no end. It's like everything I grew up with now is classic cartoons. It's 20 years old, and um, everybody freaks out about it. But I have artist friends that freak out about it, and they're like, well, we're going to pick on you now because you're finally going to hit that point to where everything's going to change. And I was like, okay, cool, whatever. I don't think I've hit that point to where I'm like, saying I'm old yet or anything like that because I don't feel that. But I have a lot of friends that have hit 40 and they're all screaming, you're going to hit it, you're going to hit it. The Ninja Turtles are going to bother you one day. What? Because I told them I was going to draw this card, and I've had a lot of people say, that it doesn't come off the same as it did back then. Well, of course not. But whatever. Okay, cool. That shell popped him right out, didn't it? Okay, I'm going to kind of detail this out a little bit, and I'm going to give him a little more detail than he needs on these legs. Got kind of I don't know how to put it. I'm giving him kind of a frog leg action because that's the way, that's always been the way that they looked to me. They looked more like a frog leg kind of deal because of the fact that they're long and gangly. And frog legs are very lean and fibrous. So And being a Texas boy, I grew up on these things, so that, you know, they're long and lean, so they're very, very cut. And they're fibrous because they're strong for jumping. And the Ninja Turtles' legs, they needed a humanoid type of leg look, but they still needed to be animalistic. So what ended up happening was they mimicked them after different things like that, different animals and stuff. So that's what you ended up getting. But in the comics, that's what they used for them. I believe it was Eastman that said that's what they used. But we'll see, because I'll hear about it if I'm wrong. Somebody will message me about it. You're wrong. It's okay. Don't take it that literal. It's okay. But anyway. Make sure I put that thumb in there. They give them these really great, huge thumbnails, well, fingernails, in fact, across the board. These big two-fingered hands. Very cool. So, going to add those in real quick. Cool. I'm going to put a little buffer right here for the end of the sword cover. Like that. So it'll raise off. There we go. Got this. Got to color in the scabbard there. Okay. Very simple, very clean. We have the first one knocked out. We have Leonardo. We will have, let's see. Tomorrow is going to be Raphael. So if he's your personal favorite, you'll definitely want to be in for that one tomorrow. I'm going to be doing them all Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of this week, if you didn't catch that yesterday. And then on Friday, I'm going to be doing Hawkman. So pretty intense week. It's going to be fun. And you guys are going to get to see previews of my new webcomic coming out. Probably Thursday is when I'm planning to release that. So keep an eye out on that one. Nothing to buy. It's going to be free online. Check it out and enjoy it. I hope you guys dig it. Check you tomorrow. Thanks for hanging out. Later.